You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. KABOMPO River crocodiles feast on humans fetching water. 42-year-old man of Lusaka pleads guilty of abusing an 11-year-old girl over to KWACHA. VEEP directs General Education Ministry to investigate bullying in schools. And in international news, Ghana's re-elected president calls for national unity. And in sports news, LALIGA VILLARREAL to pick best player at the ongoing Under-20 AFCON. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
Hello, have you heard about LUSAKA? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, LUSAKA is here. Advertise on LUSAKA between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
LUSAKA, allowing your business to grow.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. Villagers of Chitampalovu area of Manyinga district, Northwestern province, have bemoaned the rate at which people are being feasted on by crocodiles in the KABOMPO River in the quest to fetch water. The residents who spoke to Camnet TV have since accused their area councillor, Richard Munyelu, of not addressing the water challenge despite many calls made. In a telephone interview with Camnet TV News, Wilfred Katochi, whose sibling was attacked by a crocodile on the 7th of December 2020, is saddened, adding that the incident could have been avoided. Meanwhile, the area councillor has confirmed this development to Camnet TV, stating that the area has for quite some time experienced challenges of water, promising to address the challenge soon. More in this report.
This is the body of a 28-year-old woman killed by a crocodile on the 7th of December 2020 at KABOMPO River while trying to fetch water. Saddened by their fellow villagers' death, these villagers of Chitampalova area of Manyinga district of Northwestern province have accused their area councillor of not doing enough to address the situation. The villagers disclosed that for a long time they have appealed to their area councillor Richard Muyelu to address the water challenges in the area by constructing boreholes, but to no avail. And Katochi Wilfred, the brother to Lydia Chinyama, who is said to have been fetching water at the riverbank before she was attacked by the reptile, told Camnet TV in an interview that his sister's death could have been avoided if the area had a borehole.
Her private part was missing. Even her breasts were also missing. But the whole part of the body was not even tempered. Only those parts which were missing. And the body has been taken for a burial. Actually, if you were seeing them, they were even complaining to their area councillor to say, look at what is happening. Oh, what has caused this incident? Just because of lacking such a borehole. If we had a borehole like we used to do at first, this incident wouldn't have maybe happened.
Meanwhile, the area councillor has confirmed with Camnet TV that the area has for quite some time experienced challenges of water, but the problem will soon be addressed as the matter is being looked into by the district commissioner.
The lady was caught by the crocodile because she went to wash his clothes. That's why he was caught by the crocodile. And from there, the problem which we have there is that we don't have boreholes. That's why people taking seriously of getting water from the KABOMPO river. This is only the source of water where people we are getting that water from that river. And we don't know. This is a challenge, a very big challenge which we have, madam.
According to the information, the deceased, who was married, has left 4 children behind. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Lusaka Magistrate Court has convicted and committed a 42-year-old man of Lusaka's Minwood, Kampasa area to the High Court for sentencing after he pleaded guilty to touching an 11-year-old girl's breast, after which he gave her to KWACHA. Lusaka Magistrate Alice Walusiku committed David Chanda to the High Court this morning after Chanda was found guilty of the offense at his own admission. Chanda is charged with 2 counts of indecent assault on females aged 11 and 10 in Lusaka this year. More in this report.
The country today comes to the last day of observing 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. More gender-based violence cases keep being recorded countrywide, most especially among women and young girls. This morning, the Magistrate Court convicted and committed 42-year-old David Chanda, an employee of Lusaka's Minwood Kampasa area, to the High Court for sentencing after he was found guilty by the court for touching the breast of an 11-year-old girl and gave her a KWACHA as a way of silencing her. Strange as it may seem, but yes, David Chanda, the convict, informed court after he pleaded guilty of indecently assaulting an 11-year-old girl that he touched her breast the time she was sent to his place to get fire. Instead of giving her what she came for, Chanda put the young victim in his house and started touching her breast, after which he gave her a KWACHA and warned her not to tell anyone. Instead of giving her what she came for, Chanda put the young victim in his house and started touching her breast, after which he gave her a KWACHA and warned her not to inform anyone. Chanda is charged with 2 counts of indecent assault on females aged 11 and 10 years old. However, he denied doing anything to the 10-year-old victim, but informed court that he only touched the victim's shoulder. He also said he was drunk, hence the reason he touched the victim's breast. A medical report obtained, however, indicated that the girl was not sexually abused, and Chanda himself said he had no intentions of sexually abusing the girl, but just touching her breast. Lusaka Magistrate Alice Walusiku committed Chanda to the High Court after she found him guilty of the offense at his own admission. And in relation to the second count, which he pleaded not guilty of assaulting a 10-year-old girl, the matter comes up on the 3rd of December 2020. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A 34-year-old senior assistant legal officer has pleaded not guilty for allegedly forging a Zambia Open University Bachelor of Laws certificate. Clara Mulwanda is facing 1 count of forgery and 1 count of uttering false documents. Allegations are that Mulwanda, between the 10th of September 2009 and December 2019 in Lusaka, forged the Bachelor of Laws degree certificate by purporting to show that it was genuinely issued by the Zambia Open University when in fact not. In the second count, Mulwanda is accused to have, between the 1st and the 31st of August 2017, uttered the fake Bachelor of Laws degree to Mwansa Grace Kalaba, an examination officer at Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education, ZIALE. The accused was caught after she was about to be admitted to the bar when she cleared her ZIALE examinations. And when the matter came up for plea this morning before Magistrate Betty Malupenga, the accused, who is a senior assistant legal officer at Chililabombwe Municipal Council, denied both charges. The matter has been adjourned to January 25th, 2021 for trial. And moving on in other news, the Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kabwe has called on government and all line stakeholders to ensure that they put in measures that protect children's rights. In a video statement to Camnet TV in commemoration of Human Rights Day, which falls every year on the 10th of December, Mr. Kabwe says children do not have the capacity to protect themselves, hence the need to put up measures that protect their rights. He says this year's Human Rights Day, which is being commemorated under the theme Recovering for the Better, Stand Up for Human Rights, is timely and should be used to reflect on many human rights related matters. Mr. Kawe says every person should enjoy basic human rights such as basic needs which government should provide. He has also called for the observance of human dignity, stating that it is one of the basic human rights regardless of disability or status.
As we commemorate Human Rights Day this year, it's important to reflect on the theme which says Recover Better, Stand Up for Human Rights. Human rights are entitlements, and as Zambians we need to believe that there are certain things that are supposed to be done because we are humans. Every person is supposed to have access to basic needs that government is supposed to provide, and as individuals we need to respect each other to ensure that our rights are protected. But for children who may not have the power to protect themselves, there is need for us as adults to ensure that we put measures in place to ensure that their rights are protected. We need to ensure that services are delivered to every person regardless of their disability, regardless of their location. They may be in rural areas. We need to ensure that we respect every person. And the main point about human rights is dignity. We need to respect every person. How we treat the poor, how we treat people with disabilities, how we treat people that are disadvantaged. As a nation, we need to balance and ensure that we treat every person with dignity and ensure that they have access to services that can bring development to our nation.
Vice President Inonge Winner has joined the country in mourning a grade 12 pupil of Kabolonga Boys Secondary School who lost his life out of bullying by fellow pupils. The Vice President has described the behavior by the pupils as barbaric because the human dignity and rights which underpin the Declaration of Human Rights becomes meaningless in such a case. The Vice President was speaking in Lusaka Thursday at the commemoration of the International Human Rights Day, and Ms. Winner has since directed the Ministry of General Education to investigate and apply stern measures to curb such behaviors. Meanwhile, United Nations Resident Coordinator Dr. Komba Magadio says Zambia is faced with many socio-economic challenges which cripple the country's ability to uphold human rights. More in this report.
Zambia has today, 10th December 2020, joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Human Rights Day under the theme Recovering for the Better, Stand Up for the Human Rights. Zambia's Vice President Inonge Winner says it is a well-known fact that despite the Declaration of Human Rights worldwide, human dignity and people's rights are still elusive in many parts of the world. The Vice President, who was represented by Justice Minister Given Lubinda, says, talking about human rights, the Vice President has since condoned the barbaric act by some pupils in Lusaka's Kabolonga area who murdered their defenseless colleague.
In a whole, is the beginning point to uphold human rights in the outer environment, such as in schools, communities, churches, nations, continents, and indeed globally. This calls us to marshal the power to speak with one voice and act with one goal of eliminating human rights abuses and infringements, whether by individuals, groups, or states, and wherever they occur. Talking about human rights starts and ends in the home somewhere. On this note, I wish to join the country in mourning a schoolboy of Kabulonga Secondary School who lost his life out of bullying, harassment, and violence by no other than his fellow pupils. This is barbaric, because the human dignity and rights which underpin the Declaration of Human Rights becomes meaningless in such cases. However, we have to talk about such matters candidly. We need to interrogate the situation in the homes where the abusers come from, so that a solution is found to help families recover from such shocks.
Zambia, like the rest of the world, is beset by the direct and indirect negative impact of COVID-19. Today, Zambia is confronted, like all countries around the world, by socio-economic shocks coupled by already existing vulnerabilities, inequalities, which further challenge the country's ability to stand up for human rights. It is very appropriate, therefore, that this year's International Human Rights Day theme, Recover Better, Stand Up for Human Rights, relates to COVID-19 pandemic.
And the Human Rights Commissioner has attested that Zambia, like any other country, had a difficult balancing act of promoting and protecting rights and freedom during the COVID-19 pandemic period.
So far that we urge the government as a commission to ensure that the empowering funds which are directed to cushion the effects of the COVID-19 on incomes of those vulnerable households and families are delivered equally in a more inclusive manner without any form of discrimination.
It is hoped that our government will tighten the laws against the perpetuators of human rights. Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
The Young Women Christian Association President, Reverend Rosemary Mulumo, has charged that poverty is one of the great influences of gender-based violence globally, and Zambia is not spared. Speaking when she graced the donation of assorted food items from the Lusaka City Council in observance of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, the Reverend explains that why WCA has many people under their care that are undergoing reformation either as victims or perpetrators of GBV. She says human rights are violated when people are abused because of gender. And speaking on behalf of LCC, Roma Ward Councillor Chilonda Chitangala says the council is playing a full role in sensitizing members of the public in communities of the dangers of gender-based violence. More in this report.
The global observance of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence comes to an end today, coinciding with the Human Rights Day. The 16 days were dedicated to speaking against gender-based violence perpetrated on women and children under the theme Orange the World, Fund, Protect, Respond and Collect. Many organizations say despite the 16 days dedicated to the fight against gender-based violence coming to an end, the fight must go on because it's still far from being won, as evidence from the statistics being recorded on a daily basis. The Young Women Christian Association of Zambia President Rosemary Mulumo says YWCA has under its care many victims of gender-based violence, calling on members of the public to be responsible citizens and end the scourge.
YWCA is one of the oldest human rights organizations in Zambia, which was established in Kitwe in 1957. It is dedicated to the empowerment of the communities, especially women, youth, children, to realize their full potential in order to continue to contribute to society. The organization is mostly known for its stance against gender-based violence, in short GBV, because of the services that it provides through many drop-in centers and temporary protective shelters for women and children fleeing from abusive environments. Shelter hubs scored successes in rehabilitating women and children who are victims of abuse. The shelter is crucial to helping women and girls overcome the trauma, experience, and even survive. Some women have recovered from depression, have gained self-esteem, and are now able to speak and to defend themselves.
And Lusaka City Council representative, Councillor Chilando Chitangala, who with her team made a donation of assorted items in observance of the 16 days of activism, says the scourge is alarming. Ms. Chitangala says the council has noted that violence has escalated due to income inequalities.
The action of this year's 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is under the theme Orange the World. Fund, respond, prevent, and collect. This theme is timely as it resonates well with us following the theme as a local authority. We have stepped forward to fund various programs such as sensitization in the following communities: Kanyama, Maziopa is where I come from, Zingalume, Kapanana, and KWACHA. In addition, we have funded today's program in our own little way, possible to show support to the institutions like LUSAKA, YWCA that are taking care of GP victims.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
With only 2 days remaining to the close of the voter registration exercise, the centers are still characterized by long queues with almost the same complaints lodged during the first 2 days. Among them, the slow pace at which the officers are operating. A check by Camnet TV at some selected centers revealed that some people have been spending days on the queues without obtaining this important document. The voter registration exercise, which commenced on the 9th of November 2020, is expected to automatically close on the 12th of December 2020, in which it is expected that the Commission will meet its 9 million target. More in this report.
With only 2 days left before the closure of the voter registration exercise, pressure has continued to mount from both the Commissioner and the Zambian citizens. The Camnet TV crew has taken time to inspect some voter registration centers in Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound. What is suffice to say is that some centers like that of Kalingalinga Community School and St. Francis Church in the area have already closed, leaving only one center registering voters at the moment. Some residents spoken to have complained on the slow process, and while others have complained that the equipment has been unreliable.
It won't, considering at the level which they are working, it won't, because when they are doing, like, say, for example, in an hour, about 3 people, and how many hours are in a day? And then if you calculate, maybe divide that number into 9, so it's not even entering into that. We still need about another 2-3 months to complete the entire exercise, yes. ECZ is a very big firm, supported by the government. It needed in the first place to do the survey. A survey should have gone through the census to know how many people, number of people we have in this country who are mature to vote. Then thereafter they look at the machinery after doing that to say maybe they can establish a lot of outskirts where they can be doing the registration.
Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light,